I haven't been here long enough. I'm old enough, but I've not been here
It
long
was where
enough.
State Farm used to be. There was an apartment upstairs. We completely did a gut remodel on it.
Okay.
It's all brand new. Well, 4 years ago.
Hey, 4 years is a lot sooner than my place was built in 73, so
So is
I was still in high school. So before Gordy got there,
All right, it's 8:15. We will call the meeting to order, the first one. First thing we need to do is approve this agenda.
I'll move it, I'll move it. All right.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oops, motion carries. Need to open the public hearing on proposed fiscal year county tax scheme. Motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in, or this is the roll call.
Nope, Hilmer, Hilmer,
Aye.
Neville, Dolan,
Aye.
and Turner.
Aye.
Our public hearing, we had any response from the public?
No, I have not had any written.
Anybody from the public wish to speak on the 2027 or 2017, 2027 fiscal year? Oh, again. Budget.
One.
Good.
Actually, my question is, how does this affect me as a property owner?
How would it,
How much is it gonna increase our taxes?
so. We haven't raised the levies. We have an assessment that was bigger than what, it was the year before by over 3%, so they capped us at 2.78 revenue growth. And so essentially, we had to take money out of,
Alright, I'm sorry,
we had to take money out of it. It's not gonna cost you probably, I mean, if, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know that that's gonna cost you a whole lot more, like less than a couple bucks, I would guess.
oh,
On the county side.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
look at the school and the cities, and if you're in town, what they're doing, but just speaking on the county side.
okay, that was my biggest concern.
Okay,
There's so many different things, even if you live in town or in the country, there's a
Right.
rural fund, or there's city, and then you get the cities too, so that makes a difference too, but.
yeah, and the letters that go out, we haven't even set our budget yet, and they have all the, all kinds of information on there that just isn't accurate. Yeah, anybody else wish to speak for a public hearing?
Yes,
Good.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had to drop off the great granddaughter. Her car didn't work.
Oh,
So, that's all right. I was wondering, this is a very difficult time for anybody else to get here. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure maybe it's difficult for you guys to get here. And I just thought, this is the first time really I've been able to come here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Most people that are in Tama County work. And it's pretty hard for a person to get here at 8:15 for a meeting. I was wondering if you ever given any thought, and this is something that I could think about, is to come at a different time. You might get more attendance.
we did that last year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we had one later in the evening last year, and then we had one in the morning. There was a request that we do so before the public hearing. We have to set these public hearings like 21 days ahead of.
Yeah, I know.
And so to change it, we're up against budget constraints as far as what we have to report back to the state. And so it's too late at this time to set something like that. We had a lot of requests last year, so we did something but we had no requests this year. But
I guess my question is, how much money are you looking at increasing the taxes? But maybe that was your question. I don't know.
it was That was his question.
And I know what this meeting is, you're going to set the rate, right?
The levy.
The levy. And have you already got it figured out how much money you're going to need?
Yeah, when we set the levy, yeah, there's, is there copies up here? There's 2 sheets in the corner right there. So they kind of break out last year and this year what it's looking like. But obviously, it's gonna depend if you live in a city or if you live in the country, in the.
Sure.
So that's gonna affect it,
Yeah,
but yeah.
depends upon what district you're in,
that's
Yeah,
it.
what school
So,
district.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
The city would.
Yep. so you can kind of follow that through to see what it changed, but we actually had to lower 2 of our levies, but the assessed values is higher. And so the assessed values that happened, those went up, but we had to lower 2 out of our 3 levies that we control. Which means we lowered them. I know, it sounds messy, but it's what,
So you control 3 levies.
we have 3 funds. You have general basic, general supplemental and rural services. So one would be the rural and then the other 2 would be for like insurance and the others what our county kind of operates on.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's schools and there's cities and things like that on top of it. And then there's the 911 thing that we all voted on where we all pay money for the EMS. For the ambulance
Oh, yeah.
departments and that, there's that kind of thing. There's just a lot of different pieces that come together, but ours are just the 3 funds. Yep.
Okay. I find it very difficult. I don't see how you can possibly decide to set a levy without knowing how much money you're going to be using. I mean, when I set budget for my household, I know what income I already have, so I kind of know what I can spend. And you guys don't even know how much income you're gonna have.
Yeah, yes, it's always, it's dependent on departments, like, so what we've done over the last 2 months is we've had budget hearings with each department. They've made their requests and we've sent back we've done that negotiating, and those numbers reflect this. Or this reflects those.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, that's good. I have no problems with that. But currently, you guys are still in the 25-26 year. You got 3 months left.
Yep.
And then you're gonna find out how much you are currently spending. Now, I'm sure you've set the budget for that. How is that budget coming?
From the last year?
No, you're in the year right now. I mean, you got 3 months left.
I don't understand your question.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see how we did. I mean, I think we're actually doing really good. But the state mandates that we have to, by the end of March, we have to set next year. It'd be great if we could wait till the end, but right on July 1st, we have to start next year's budget. So we just estimate what's planned to come in, income and expenses for how our ending fund balance will look on June. Is it 30th, 31st? I don't know the last day. And then we just use that to say, this is how we're looking. And then we go through, like Mark said, every single department's incomes, expenses, like we've been sitting in here for any time between the end of January and February, every meeting afterwards, we stay and we do budgets. And so we've been spending quite a bit of time just going through all of that to figure out how much we can spend, who gets the money, who doesn't, how that all works.
So are you pretty well within your budget right now for the current year that you're in, that ends in June,
Yes.
end of June? Okay. So I had, the last 3 years, I looked at the budget, what the overrun was for the last 3 years. And the county has had to dip in to the savings, some account, to account for 6 million one year, 7 million another year, and like 2 million the year before. So you don't think you're gonna be overrun like that this year?
Sir, we started with minus $1 million a year ago, 4 of us on this board. We didn't have an emergency fund to dip into last year. We had to cut.
Yeah.
And so there's not going to be any going into an emergency reserve. We didn't have one.
Well, you don't have any left.
Right.
Yeah, we came in, four of us, and he was only been here 2 years. We all came in new last year, and that's what we came into.
I mean, you're kind of in an impossible situation a little bit.
Well, it was a difficult year last
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
but
What-
we've made some adjustments that will help for this year.
Where did the original extra money come from?
Some of it was from COVID. Some of it was money that they'd saved over a period of time.
Yeah, that's a considerable chunk of change.
Yeah,
It really was.
Yep.
Okay,
and then,
I think they gave big raises too.
Yeah.
There was like 8% raises, year over year kind of, and that just, when every department employee takes that, that eventually is gonna start hurting, right? Cause it doesn't,
2 or 3 8% in a row can add up real
it's gonna
quick.
add up real quick, yeah.
I believe there was two of them, right?
At least
There's
two,
two.
and then there's
There's
6 or 7,
Mhm.
I know nobody likes to hear about more taxes, but what about possibly like Lynn County does? I don't know where the money goes to, but they have like a 2 or 3 cent tax extra on sales tax. The way everybody puts it up and actually have that as an emergency fund.
We have a 1% sales tax right now.
Okay,
yeah, that's
So
dictated by
half of that goes
the.
to the school, well, I'm paraphrasing, half goes to school, a chunk of it goes to the roads.
it's
And then what was the last-
1%.
Tax
It's
relief.
it's 1 cent.
Can they go 2 cents?
If the state raises it,
I think it's state rates.
we don't have,
I know nobody wants to do about the budget shortfall.
Well, I believe what we've done, we're not going to have a budget shortfall. We've learned how to, where money, what buckets are supposed to be in, which previous boards had not done correctly.
Right.
So we fixed that. And here's what we're looking at. We have a pretty good idea of what our ending fund balance is going to be.
Right.
One of the things that I told the board that I wanted, and we've done it, is we've held back 10%. When people come and say, I need $100,000, okay, we'll approve $100,000, but you only get 90.
Right.
Because what happens is, I've been in the government on the receiving end, for many years, and I watched people throw stuff away in order to keep their budgets. We don't play that game.
Yeah,
We've stopped that.
I've seen it too. I was in
And so,
the Air Force in the 80s, so I
Me
know
too.
exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Just
Your
straight
big stuff
from
went in the
the
dumpster.
following year.
yeah, so I don't believe in that, and as a board, we've held people's feet to the fire. We're still
Right.
doing that. So moving forward, to answer your first question, we're going to have sufficient funds moving into the next year. That's by design. We're supposed to have
Yeah.
some money held back. For example, what we had to do last year was our treasurer came to us and said, hey, we're not gonna be able to make payroll. And that led us into looking into a lot of places where people were, I won't say hiding money, where money had been deposited and it wasn't being used, and so we made use of it. I'll give you, for instance, we've got, was it $347,000, somewhere in that range in conservation. It can only be used to buy land. And we've asked our conservationists, are you looking to buy any land? No. We've got money sitting out there that we can't use legally. We can't use it because it's in a bucket that is
Yeah,
blocked. So we've gone through and we looked line by line last year. We went line by line through everybody's budget. And in some cases, we made them come back 3 times because we weren't satisfied with them doing what we told them they needed to do. So we've done that. Moving forward, and as they've already said, I don't know if we're as clear as we can be. We have not raised our levy. This makes the 2nd year in a row. We've not raised the levy.
I appreciate the fact that you're not raising levy. However, you guys don't control the cost of my house.
No,
And the assessor this year, being an odd year, I think it is, or odd or even one of the two they do it. It's going to go up considerable from what, the thing I got and the information I'm receiving. I know one guy that his house, the cost of his house, maybe he did improvement, but his taxes are gonna go up considerable because his house went up like $50,000 or $60,000 the valuation. My assumption is, although you guys are lowering the levy, I think total money, people are gonna be spending more on their taxes than what they were last year. Is that right? I mean,
I would-
you have some idea how much money is going to be coming in.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
assume it's higher than what it is this year.
The ones that had the higher assessed values, definitely, yeah,
absolutely.
which is mostly everybody, because everything's
How
behind.
much of an increase are you guys looking at? Then?
Per person, we can't figure, I mean, I don't know, do you guys?
But you can do a percent. In other words, last year we got this much total,
Mhm.
this year we got this much
I think as
total.
a whole we do, but individually, I don't.
No, I'm not interested in individual. I'm saying the average person
Yeah,
would normally get, our taxes are gonna go up this much, we're gonna get this much revenue.
yeah,
And this much is 5% higher than last year, it's 2%, it's 1%. What percent is that?
I mean, I think in here it says urban would be 2.54% and rural would be 2.45. So that would be, that's for all fund, you know, like that's just kind of how it lumped together. And that's due to the assessed value.
Okay,
But that doesn't take into account that we had to reduce our levies to match the 2.87 total growth.
And then it'd be the cities and the schools on top of that as well.
well, you guys don't control the cities and schools,
Correct.
do you? So you can't,
Nope, that would be different meetings, yeah.
so the percent of theirs will have to be added
Added to
to the percent of
the. Correct.
the total value of guy's property tax, how much property tax. So it's going to go, whatever their property tax is going to go up too.
Yeah, and it's, the state's the one that dictated to have the assessor, you know, when they assess, they're supposed to kind of do like, almost like what it would cost to buy a house. You know, it used to be an assessed value was way lower. They're kind of bringing that up because the state required them to. So it's not like they want to do that. That's just what all counties got forced to do, which again, then brings more taxes.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, it isn't the state in general. It's one person in the Department of Management. He helps set the price. And he's appointed by the governor, so. Which is okay. Other question I have for you. Property tax, and I don't know if you guys can do this or if I need to go to the assessors. But if you improve your land, value of your land, the value of your house, make it look nice, fits in well with the community, your taxes go up. If you let your property go to hell, your property tax goes down. Now, to me, as a neighbor, that seems kind of weird. Why aren't you going to tax somebody a little bit more for not taking care of their property? Not making it look nice, not making it become more valuable. Have you guys got any wherewithal to change or to alter or to force people to clean up their place, to fix it up, to make it livable? They're better off to let it sit vacant, empty, falling down than to fix it up. Is there anything you can do about that? I mean, it's not only cities, but it's out in the country too. How many empty, falling down barns and buildings and sheds are out in the community? There's a lot less than what there used to be because property land, the farmers are clearing it down now and planting right through it, but there's still a lot of them around.
Yep. I'd say that's mostly the assessor. I don't think we can force that side of it. If there is a nuisance property, like there's one at Union Grove Lake, I mean, there's things like that. If there's neighbors and there's animals getting in it and it's becoming weedy and, I mean, there's a spot in our ordinance for it.
So you do have a nuisance ordinance in the county,
Yes, yep.
and that allows you to fine them or to
Sometimes like,
somehow encourage them to fix it up or solve that
yeah,
problem.
there's different process around it for getting it mowed and then charging them back on their taxes to pay for that mowing and weed eating and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Richard, you had your hand up.
Just a quick question. Is this the year that the evaluations on urban houses go up? I mean, every 3 years. No,
Seemed like that was last year, but I don't.
yeah, I didn't know.
I think they're gonna be driving around this year, but it's always behind, so it's
Yeah.
like trying to figure out that, you
And I
know.
know it's, 1 year it's Egland, 1 year it's
Oh,
houses,
okay.
1 year
I
it's
don't know the
business.
answer to that, I
Yeah.
guess.
So,
It just seemed like we had a lot more engagement last year than we did this year, and so it just seemed like that was probably.
okay, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I haven't heard, that's a good point.
Okay, thanks.
So it doesn't. So it doesn't appear to the residents of this county that you guys are doing anything because the assessed values and the taxes keep going up. And when the taxes go up to balance out the increased assessed values, it's gonna be really ugly. I mean, just on my house alone, it's $2,000 a year, just on the house. It's unbelievable. Which, you know, I want to point this out to the gentleman behind you, the Tama County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. If you guys want to go online, this is a great place to put your gripes and your suggestions, and it is due at the end of March. Due at the end of March, back into Karen's office. Is a good place to take it back to, and it can be anonymous. So anyway, and it's your wife, your adult children, everybody can fill one of these out. Anyway, I suggest you do that, but it's a great place for input. But everything this gentleman said is true. And the nicer we try to make our properties, the more it's going to cost, even if it's not today. It could be next year when assessed values balance out with the tax increases. This is a day with a lot of tax meetings at noon, and then again tonight. It's gonna be an ugly day. Somehow, I just pray. First off, I know you guys have done an excellent job, because I've been here all year long. I've been to most of the budget meetings, not all, I agree, but I've seen people come back in trying to keep the money that they have been allocated for several years, and they've been trying to keep that. Thank you for everything you've done. Only if you've been here can you just absolutely know how much work you guys have done. Somehow in this end of the county, these schools are gonna have to also balance their budget. When you hear on the news that there are people that are working for no money, that are people that are hoping they'll get paid someday, that there are people that are being outsourced by AI and so many other different things. There's a lot of people that are becoming unemployed. And it seems like the people in Tama County are just not appreciative of what they've got. And the fact that they might have a job, and do they need $100,000 a year plus benefits, or could they maybe work for half of that? And what if farmers would just walk away when they have a year that they've lost money, instead of going to their banks and their loan agencies and begging for another year to operate? And I know it doesn't look like farmers are poor. It doesn't, because everybody's got new machinery. However, a lot of that is now rented, and Richard would know exactly, he'd be able to back me up 100% on this. It looks like farmers with $1 million worth of equipment are rich. A lot of that equipment is rented, borrowed, whatever, co-owned with several neighbors, just so they can keep it going. And it's not been like this ever before. And you're talking to a person that has been around a while. There's a lot we can do. There's a lot that people are unwilling to do. People don't want to make sacrifices. And I think the day's going to come where everybody's just going to sacrifice all at once. And it's going to be a forced thing, and it's going to be really ugly. But for now, thank you guys, all five of you, for everything you do and all the meetings you've gone to and the budgets that you're trying to balance. Thank you very much.
Close public hearing. Is there anybody online?
Laura Wilson made a comment. She said she believes the town only has nuisance ordinance in relation to Union Grove community. Other nuisance properties may only fall under state code sections, but she does not have the code in writing.
That's right. We need a motion to come out of it anyway.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Roll call. Oh, I'm sorry, do roll.
Elmer.
Aye.
Canelo. Dolan.
Aye.
Kupka.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
We will have another
One
public comment.
final thing that I wanted to maybe mention Is there a way to incentivize people to improve their property by maybe giving them a grace period on the taxes that they don't increase for a certain period of time?
We had someone come in and talk about rural tax abatement, but we haven't gotten final numbers, but that would be on the rural side. The city would be on the city
People
side.
actually
To take-
update or remodel properties and make them better.
I
Yep,
believe Toledo and Tama both have abatement contracts.
Okay, I didn't know.
If you're in town,
If you're in town, yeah.
different.
Well, can't the Department of Ag, like a farmer contours his ground or does theirs, they'll say, they'll actually take parts of it.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Approves the levy.
Yeah, they will actually.
Need a motion to approve the levies.
I'll make that motion. Just a second.
And seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Motion for adjournment. We can start.
So moved.
Second. Somebody else. Who-
Come, come.
Yep, all right.
All those in favor say
Aye.
aye. Opposed. We are adjourned. It's 8:41. We'll open up the next meeting with a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I think we need to do is approve this agenda.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Public comments. This is, or on anything. Get it all talked about? All right. Let's public comment. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Ledger. I didn't.
I was waiting, letting everybody else go first, so, you guys placed me on the Board of Health. I know we got a meeting this noon, and, I just want to come and talk to you guys, you know. I've been hearing a lot of comments from people, Lynn Cheesha, who's been at these meetings, how much the Board of Health, the people that go out and help people, what it means to the people, what the actual people that are out there doing the work for Tama County people, how much they appreciate it. Janet Wilson has said how much her mother has appreciated. And, you know, I've talked to Heather, I've talked to Kurt. You know, I sure wish there had been more time for this board and that board to discuss things, to try and work something out. Because I'm not concerned about you guys, the administration over there. I care about those people out there that are receiving the services that probably won't get them pretty soon. And what's gonna happen to those people? I wish there was some way we could work things out. I've thrown ideas out there. People aren't listening. I've thrown ideas out there to the people at the Public Service Health Department. I get no response. You know, and I'm saying, come on, people. Let's do what's right for the people out there, the people that don't have insurance, the older people, the people that are gonna be hurting worse. And I wanna know, is there anything we can do? You know, anything that I can do to help right now, the people out there?
Good question.
Yeah. I'm sitting here saying, I know people that are gonna get hurt. I've heard people that have already talked to Marshalltown to get services that are talking a 4 to 5 month waiting period to get on their list. So I'm concerned about the people out here in the county. So that's what I'm throwing at you guys this morning. Because I'm on that Board of Health, and yet I don't know what to do to help the actual people to get the services. So. And I know last week, you know, I got an email, you know, on the Board of Health, from you guys that are saying you rejected their offer, which I personally didn't totally understand myself, you know, and I think you said that same thing, Mark. But it's the people out there in this county. You know, and you're gonna hear it, you know, if that department gets shut down, you're gonna hear it from a lot of people. But then it's too late. Now's the time, while these people are still employed over their Department of Health, is work something out. Question I have, could the Board of Health take out an operating loan so that they could still receive the money in that they, you know, like, they've been getting, what, 700,000-800,000 a year in? Could they have an operating loan to be able to use that money? I don't know. You know, I'm scratching at ideas, trying to help people.
Yep.
So,
But I think that would be up to the Board of Health.
okay,
For example, Central Iowa Detention is a separate board. They've got their own board. We're a member to that board. It's a 2080 group. And they've had loans, operating loans,
Okay.
building loans, that kind of stuff, because they have that within their purview.
because I know, you know, you guys have appropriated, what, 300,000 over there? If we could come up with an operating loan for the 700,000, $1 million would do a lot of work to take care of, you know, and I'm thinking now's the time to save those people that actually go out there and do the work. If we close it down, those people are gone. And a year from now, you're not gonna get them back. So I'm trying to throw ideas out there. I'll throw ideas out at the meeting this noon. You know, I wanna do something to take care of the people in Tama County.
The other thing we can do is, we found out from our outside auditor, we could have separate departments, so like we could separate public health and home health, which might be kind of nice to split up, because right now where it's like, it's all commingled and it's, one's kind of mostly administrators, one's the workers, so you guys could discuss that too, if that would help you guys, for us to split it, you know, into two departments too.
Okay.
So that's another, just an option that we found out's available.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Cause
Then, yeah, and then I believe we can say it's in-home care would come under us and they'd have their own department head. And it'll be under our direction, I believe, correct?
I don't know if it'll be under us or not, I think it's just, it just.
It would still be under the,
We think, but we might need a little clarity on that side of who would be
Yeah.
responsible, but it would be separate. I would think it'd be them, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just different than other departments, but. So there's ways like that too, or one time and then they,
I mean, you're saying that there's a way to split those two.
Yeah.
You know,
or we could allocate money
and,
to, both if the board decided to, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But we just need to understand how that would all work and who's saying, you know, is there qualified people to cover a couple
Okay.
home health people or not, you know?
that would help in a sense of some of that money needs to be allocated for the help, the people that go do the work, where there's a lot of money in the administrative area right now that needs to be taken care of. I mean, and
that's difficult.
it is.
We were here for 3 hours looking at every different way that we could find to make that happen. To where the administrative costs could come down, but we would still try to fund the people that are going, the nurses and the home care.
In-home.
Whatever that title is, I always get it wrong.
I don't either.
We were trying to keep as many of them on to, you know, to continue the service in every way that we could while reducing the administrative costs, but it's up to the Board of Health. And if we just started the funding mechanism, and so the only way that we could do that is to ask them, and then when they came back with the proposal, it was the opposite. We were losing people that were doing the work and we were retaining all of the administrative staff. So that made it really
I
difficult.
figured that one out myself.
And if you could get an operating, then, you know, our struggle was, even if there's revenue coming in, we'd have to levy for that, because you're gonna have expenses going out to that revenue coming in. You know, cause it's not like it's every year, it seems like it's gonna be high and then it comes in a little lower, so. That's where it's hard if there was an operating, you know, on the home health side, we could give a certain amount of money there and then get an operating for that difference of that revenue.
And there was the other complaint was, the county was impeding the ability of private practice coming in and taking on that service. So there are people out there that would provide that service. The problem was they would be competing, they were competing against us, the county. And that was a factor that came into our discussions too. We had a room full of people out into the hallway that was discussing those things. And again, we spent 3 hours trying to work through stuff and we didn't get the result that I think we needed. I agree with you. I've received message traffic already from people who are worried about losing that care. There are people out there that can provide that. The issue is, and you're on the board of health, the issue is, can they reach out, can the board of health reach out and say, hey, company A, company B, give us some proposals. And they're already self-funded. They already exist. So they've got the administrative abilities to go after, not go after, to request money from the insurance companies, from the federal government and so forth for us old people. So it's out there. The question is, somebody gonna step up and just do what you asked.
Yeah.
And I'm of a mind that it should not be the county that's providing the money and taxing, adding extra tax dollars to it when there's other options out there that can do it at a lesser cost and still provides, in some cases, one was that would provide mental health services, which the current thing doesn't do.
Yeah, all of them that we've talked to.
Yeah, but
In
we,
case management.
yeah, but right now, our public health, if my memory serves me correctly, they don't provide any mental health services.
Social work, so for example, I don't know how many people are not insured at this point. But a lot of those private companies have had to bring on a social worker to get people qualified for the insurance that they carry. That doesn't happen here with the social worker they don't have one. I'd asked about that. I hope that they would start the transition, if that's what the outlook is at this point, that they would start the transition and that we would know how many people don't have insurance and how we can make sure that they don't lose care.
Could be an interesting meeting this now.
Yeah.
And the biggest
I hope
thing-
that You'll be our voice there, for that, because we are in the same boat as you. We don't want people to go without services.
Right.
We didn't want to cut jobs. That's not where we were coming from at all. We wanted to shift from the administrative over into the caregiving and things could go on. We didn't find a way to do that because they were holding on to that.
Basically, what you're telling me is unless we can split home health and, the services out here, unless we split those two groups, more than likely, everything's gonna be gone. That's the way I look at it.
No, we have to have public health. That's
No, I know you
required
have
by
to
law
have
to
it.
have that.
But what's gonna be left?
All of them, whatever the mandatory services are.
Yeah. What I saw was an option to just one administrator and secretary, and that's about it.
Yep, that's correct.
So, yeah,
Yep.
that doesn't provide services out here.
No, it does not.
So
Not through that agency.
you guys know my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
and the deadline, unfortunately, we have to have our budgets
Yeah.
done by the end of the month, so I'd say, even if you guys gotta sit there and hammer it out, or reach out to any of us, if you need some help on it too, or questions, but this is the time to get some solutions here quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question. Do you guys have to give approval for private companies to come in and offer health services to people of Tama County?
No,
So they can anybody
yes,
can come in and start offering health services to people from Tama County.
yep, they do it, and they have been for many years.
Okay. Yeah, but those people don't receive any things from
No,
you. What I was trying to think of is trying to get have a local LLC formed And then they start performing the services, if, maybe if they could get the loan and stuff like that, and get it started, maybe they can maintain a lot of the existing employees and do that, but I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they had to be an established outfit to do that or not.
I think they can run under the same banner as they are, we're not subsidized.
Say, back while Richard and you were speaking, the
Sorry,
question
Sharon, I'll
came
get you
in, how
next.
was it being impeded?
What's that?
Somebody asked, how was it being impeded?
How is it being?
And I don't,
What is impeding?
I don't know, it was while you two were speaking?
No,
David's.
David said
Oh,
impeding, I didn't use that word today.
I did. So, would you ask the question in the context, because I said a lot. When I said I was, well,
I think that gives context to it. So you had mentioned that there's private entities
right,
that provide services for the county, and that those entities have made claims and conversations with us, to you guys, that they feel like they've been impeded by the county. And I think it's mostly so like, not individuals doing it, it's just like, the county already has this mechanism that works really well for our healthcare providers, and so why would they give them to somebody else? And I think that's mainly what
that's my point, yeah.
the private companies felt.
Right. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, so I'm gonna add to this. The confusion is that after about 30 days, people who are trying to stay at home, taking care of their family members or neighbors, whatever they're doing, they're being charged anywhere from $75 to $125 an hour, which is about one bath. Most people can't afford that. So there's the confusion. Public health, is available, but for quite a large fee. So some people, so I've been investigating this for a couple months now. What some people are doing that used to work for public health in other counties, they're offering their services for $25 an hour. And that's very helpful. And maybe that's what's going to happen here, is that these gals who are doing the actual care that are not being paid $90,000 a year, maybe they'll go out and start doing home health care for $25, $30 an hour. They actually go into the homes and do what they're doing right now, only privately. That is going on already. Administrative costs are high, and it's very confusing, and people don't really understand what they're paying for, and they don't understand why they have to pay so much to get somebody to come out into their home and actually help them with their family member, and then they're doing it themselves because they can't afford that. So many people want to live in a small town, and this goes across the board to everything that's going to be going on today and that's been going on for the last year and 3 months. They want to live in a small town. They want to have all the privileges of living in a small town. However, they want the services and the wages of living in a bigger town, a bigger city. So they're not bringing that small town atmosphere here. They want the safety and the protection and the camaraderie of living in a small area or rural area, but they still want all of the privileges and luxuries of living in a big area. And that's something I'm going to put on my comprehensive land use plan, is because that's what's going on. And in a small rural area, you can't afford that stuff. There's no money coming in to balance that off. And that's just not home health care. That is everything. So, if you want luxurious wages, then go live where those are and then pay the taxes and the home costs and $500,000 for a house, go live there then. If you want to live here, then there's things you have to give up. And with the home health care, I think it's fixable. It's just not going to be fixable the way that it is right now. It's going to have to be, and thank God the Board of Health cares, the people that are on that board care to be working on it. I'm glad that they do. We have good boards in this county, really good boards. Thank you.
Good. All right. Now we close public comments. And discuss approved 3/16/26 regular minutes.
So moved. I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Engineer, road report.
They worked on the bridge west of Clute, or east of Clute here on E36, got that patched up last week. And then, we're looking at a low water crossing on the north east side of Clute here that's fell in. Figure out what we're gonna do there. We're supposed to reach out to the landowners and kind of see what their thoughts are. And, oh yeah, that's all I got. I did have a guy stop in here and talk to me, and I'll get with you afterwards. Okay. Claims. Claims in the amount of, 86,156 period 94. That's $86,156.94, and I move that we approve that amount.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. New business, any supervisory reports?
I got some. Okay. I'm going to a funeral this week. We've got a current issue going on. Issue is, we've got a test going on with Ninja One. And so far it's working quite well. What it affords us is the ability to open tickets, do the follow through, show them closed out, so we can track equipment, we can track individuals, what have you. You know, is the problem David doesn't know how to turn his computer on, or is David's computer screwed up? So that's going on. They're going to do a 15-day review while I'm gone to the funeral. And then I will be out of country for the 30 days. So I want to move, I'm gonna have it moved up so we can vote on it prior to my leaving. Right now, it's working very, very well. And it goes through, it shows in every computer, it'll show the warranty, when it expires, it'll tell whether or not it's got all the right patches, and Corey can update all those remotely. So we don't have to go and pick up everybody's computer. I'm very pleased with that. Then I canceled all the phone services that were through SCI. I anticipate that we're going to get a severance bill for that, because those were approved for a year contract, and that contract rolled over every year without us stopping it. So, what I did, and I've sent out through through Jenna, I've sent out a request for every department head, every elected official to give us a list of all the contracts that are $3,000 and more, start date, end date, whether they're a rollover, what it's for, et cetera, because we've got other things out there. As we go through, we cancel stuff and we draw down things that are going to bite us at the backside, because, you know, we had one contract, and I told you about this before. Well, it's one of those I just canceled. It had on there, this is a non-cancelable, irrevocable agreement that cannot be canceled or terminated. Fortunately, it expired, but it was one of those that rolled over every year. So I canceled that. And then I went through with Windstream, Kinetic, or Unity. They've got 3 names out there. And I canceled all of the contracts except for the one for the 2 911 lines that Jacob has that's actually still through them. So I sent that out. I anticipate we're gonna get some severability bills based on those. But we've switched over to the new system. We've taken out all the old phones. We've taken out all the equipment that ran those old phones. And right now we have Carly down in the engineer's office has put it online, so we can, we're taking bids on all that equipment with a reserve of $10,500. So we have to get at least that amount from it. So we're cleaning up a lot of stuff. That stuff's been removed from the frames, and starting to look better. So good. Anyway, so we're moving forward. We get this stuff done. Unfortunately, I've got funeral to go to, a wedding to go to, so I'll be out of pocket Wednesday of this week through Saturday, and then I'll be gone April the 9th through the 22nd. So I need to prevail upon somebody to take the one of my meetings for Thursday night. Would you do that one? I'll tell you what it is afterwards. But and Mark, I think
Central Iowa.
Central Iowa, we can do that online, or you can't, but that'll be right smack in the middle of the funeral, so I can't do that. Great.
Just send me their
I
link.
would. That's all I had. Oh, wait, I have one more thing. I put on the owl, I've put some, stuff on it to take out HF. I don't know how that's working, so I'm interested to see if that's fixed part of our problem.
Nobody's had any complaints, so.
Good.
Good news. We thought it was the fluorescent.
Well, the fluorescent lights will mess with, well, they're not fluorescent, they're LEDs. They will mess with some cameras if they don't have the ferrite beads on them. So I put the ferrite beads on the cable between the owl and the computer last week. Didn't tell anybody about it, see if it worked, and we had really good equipment usage. It looks like so far it's doing pretty good too, so that might have been our issue, HF frequency interference on the cables.
Thank you, David, for the work you're doing.
Yes, definitely.
Appreciate it a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you've been a busy guy and we appreciate it. It's helping a lot.
Yeah. We almost got the owl figured out by the time we got the budget figured. 13 months later.
I did have the aging, board meeting the other day and, we were notified that due to the cuts, the Board of Health, Lori Johnson's gonna get off that board. Mike was gonna go talk to her though and see, cause she was on because of the being, employee there. He was gonna go after to see if she would be on just as a citizen, deal. But, we discussed a little bit about, how we dispersed the money last year, and we were really happy of the changes. Before it was mostly funding, the meals. Basically just here in Tama Toledo area at a building. And they were only getting meals out to 5 to 10 people, and we had to ask ourselves if it is this worth it? And Mark brought it up, is it worth us to help fund that? And actually it was Lori Johnson came up with the idea of dispersing that to the communities. And we did that, and it turned out I got a lot of good response, a couple of real nice thank yous. And that's something we can, as a board, we can decide we can increase a little bit, or find a couple more to do, but I think that was a real positive move from going just helping 7 to 10 people, to communities. So, with that was a very good move, and hopefully if Lori doesn't come on, we need to have to fill her position, and so if anybody knows of anybody that would be willing to do that, it'd be great. But that was about it for that meeting. And of course, when we have this meeting today, which I'll probably have to Zoom, I'll be on Zoom for that. But we have the Board of Health meeting today. So other than that,
Most of my meetings are this week, so tomorrow I have my Eastern Iowa Workforce Area CEO meeting, and then the Heartland Risk Pool Insurance meeting is on Thursday. So if you guys got anything for that, just let me know.
I have Region 6 this week. This is the week of my meetings too. So, this week, next week. Other comments?
I have one. So last year, 2025, Heather mentioned more than one time about John Deere cutting budget. And over the weekend, I was informed by a reliable source that the universities are also not replacing staff, cutting budget that way. So that if something happens to staff, a staff person within the system, that not just teachers, but within the system, they're not being replaced either. And so that's just to me, that's huge because they've been dipping off the budget at the universities for a very long time to the point of negative consequences. So I can't remember when they in the past until this year have actually started agitating their employees and actually not replacing staff. And there is some agitation about that, but I think that's the wave of the future. I don't think this is gonna get better. So there's only just so much money out there and just it's starting to drain. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that because it lends support to everything you guys have been doing. Thank you.
Well, to add to you, I worked for the state for 30 years. And the state in its infinite wisdom runs out of money occasionally. And I worked at the juvenile home and there were several times we did not replace the people that quit. That position stayed open a minimum. We were told how long it would stay closed. They just didn't approve for anybody. And there were times I didn't have a custodian for about 2 years for the school. But that too, well, the teachers found out what it was like to have to clean their rooms. And I had to find a staff member that would help and get a student, and that's what we did. You just don't replace people for a long time. And it's not pleasant on everybody, but it has to be done. We didn't buy a lot of things. For paper was pretty reasonable. We used scratch paper rather than notebooks. We had a cutter downstairs and it was cut up and they made little glue the thing together. And I used that as scratch paper. I mean, we did everything to avoid that. We also was able to, one of the best things was, and I really liked the guy, he mowed lawn for us. He was convicted of OWI, I don't know who it was, and he had some community service that he had to do. We volunteered for community service, best lawnmower guy we ever had. I mean, dependable, he did it. I mean, he was, I think he was a retired farmer and he loved to mow and he was good at managing equipment and stuff. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's not pleasant, let me tell you. It's not pleasant to do without employees.
Sure.
But you just got it. And also, one of the things that we did, the state did, they encouraged early retirement. If you got people that, and almost all of your people are IPERS employees, they are IPERS employees, you yourself are IPERS employees. It's a great fund, let me tell you. If someone qualifies for IPERS and they reach the rule of 88, it's almost costing them money to come to work. If it wasn't for your health insurance, it's costing them money. Let me tell you. And if you have somebody that can come in and show them how much they might get, they might think twice about how much longer they're gonna come in. I had 2 employees that took early retirement because it was good, besides what the state offered. I myself took it. I agree with you. That's my point.
If I could, I would. All right, who's got the comments and nothing else? The motion to adjourn,
I'll make that motion.
been moved. Second. And second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
I don't know if we can get in my email since